Nandita Kothari and this is my channel Nandita Kothari. Welcome back. Yeah, my mom asked me to do that dance in all the videos because she liked it. Welcome back. This is an informational video. It could be educational if you put the information into right use. So it is up to you. My top 10 tips of how to effectively learn new vocabulary in a foreign language. These are just tips from my experience and it might work for you, it might not work for you. They have worked for me, so I'm just going to share. Before starting the list, I just wanted to make some things clear, so to give you a little bit of context of why I am making this video, because most of you probably don't know me and most of you don't know the fact I have studied 5 foreign languages. First language that I ever learned that was not my mother tongue or English was Gujarati, which is the regional language of where I live in India. Second is German. I went to Germany on a high school exchange program. I was in Germany for 10 months and I was speaking German by the end of the exchange year, which was 5 years back. So right now my German skills are very scheisse. My third language was Italian. I lived in Italy for 2 years. I studied in university. I was studying in Italian. That's how I ended up learning Italian. And then while I was in Italy, I went to Spain for 3 months for an internship. To do that, I had to learn Spanish. I tend to mix up Italian and Spanish a lot, which is not fun. The last language, as you might already know, I am in Korea right now and I studied Korean. I've been studying Korean for about 1.5 years now, on and off. I have learned all these 5 languages. I am telling you about this just to build some credibility of my tips that I'm going to share in the video. Let's get right into it. This is the most important tip in the whole video. Yes, I am giving you out the most important tip right in the beginning of the video. I don't care, but this is so important that I am just giving it to you. And you could leave the video now if you want, but this, you need to hear this first tip, okay? You just have to. So the thing with language learning is that it is called learning, not memorizing. My first tip is do not memorize. Learn the vocabulary. Don't memorize vocabulary, because there's a huge difference. Your brain has limited amount of space. Don't waste on it on useless vocabulary that you think that you need but you don't really do. So try to learn vocabulary, and by learning I mean try to understand the word and understand the meaning, use it a couple of times in sentences and get the feeling of the word, and that is when you're going to remember it forever. Because just memorizing it will stay in your brain for 2 days and the third day, poof, all gone. I mean, yes, sometimes you need to memorize, but try not to memorize, try to learn, okay? Tip number 2. Have a tiny notebook, color coded, and yeah, keep it with you all the time. I have been carrying these notebooks with me wherever I go. It's always in my bag with a pen. I suggest try to color code things or just try to highlight things, because since the colors stand out, your pictorial memory, I don't know how to explain it, but that helps in remembering the words. Tip number 3. Make sentences and write to 1 or 2 related vocabulary, because you learn more vocabulary just with 1 word, because in languages like Korean there are a lot of compound words. So if you know 1 word, you kind of know the meaning of a lot of other words, so that it helps in that way. And obviously make sentences. If you make sentences, it's more easy to relate, it's more easy to understand in what situation you can use the words, build up a tiny story around this word, and it helps you remember much efficiently. Number 4. Learn or look up for the meanings or new words only when you desperately need it. I have not seen anyone talking about this, maybe because it's not really a method. It's more of an indirect method. So what I have noticed and experienced is that when I just look for words, randomly just because I want to know them. So like for example, if I want to know how to say zebra crossing in Korean, and I would be, I don't know, just in my room, and I would just go to Naver dictionary and I would search for the word and I'll get the word in Korean. I would repeat it 2 or 3 times and I was like, okay, now I know what the word for zebra crossing is. But no, it doesn't work that way. Unless I don't really need to use the word, my brain is not going, as I said earlier, my brain is not going to store it for a long time because I'm not using it. If I'm on the road and I'm talking to a Korean, and it's like I want to ask my friend, where is the zebra crossing? That's when I need to look it up, or that's when I need to ask the friend, dude, what's the word for zebra crossing in Korean? Let me know, because I want to use it in a sentence. So unless you desperately need to use the word, don't look for it. It's way more effective when you need the word and you are going to use it in immediate future. Tip number 5, for languages like Korean, if you are at an intermediate level, you might want to start identifying hanjas, which is the Chinese characters which are the roots to the words in Korean. When you are at your intermediate advanced kind of level, you kind of start to see connections between words. So for example, kam comes from hanja and it means feelings or emotions. So a lot of words is like kamjong, kamdong, 자신감, all these words where kam comes, you could, even if it's a word that you don't know, you can still figure out that kam means feelings or emotions, so the word has to do something with feelings or emotions. Number 6, this is a fun one. I recommend watch a lot of TV, and that is how you will end up hearing the same words again and again and again, and they'll kind of stick to your brain, sometimes subconsciously. It has happened to me a lot of times, and especially if you are learning Korean, for improving your vocabulary, Korean variety shows, those are the best because they have subtitles. So like they would put up in bold big Korean letters whatever the people are saying, so you could actually read and hear it at the same time, and it's a really good practice. So one of my favorite show is Shinso Yugi, The Journey to the New West World. I think that's the translation. But Shinso Yugi is a super fun show, and it's just very fun to watch, and you're learning new vocabulary at the same time. So yeah, watching TV is one of my favorite things to do to learn new vocabulary. I also watch a lot of drama, so when you're listening to the same word over and over again, your brain kind of starts to recognize the word, and then you can look it up in dictionary when you really need to use it. It kind of like, you know, installs a software package into your brain, and then you could unzip the package and install it in your brain when you need to use it. So yes, variety shows and dramas and TV, any kind of media, that is the best entertaining way to learn new vocabulary. Tip number 7. So I know it is similar to watching media, but listening to music is also another way that you could learn vocabulary. It is similar to watching TV, but when you listen to music, it's mostly listening, so it's more focused. So I usually listen to a lot of indie alternative rock kind of music and a lot of ballads. I'll put the link to my Spotify playlist for Korean music in the description box if you want to check it out, because it has a lot of slower music which is easier to understand, and it is good music. I mean, it's not K-pop. If you are really into K-pop, then probably the playlist is not for you. I think you can learn a lot of adjectives and, you know, all those colorful words from songs. So I recommend listening to a lot of songs in the language that you're learning. Learn vocabulary that interests you if you really want to spend time in learning something. I have experienced that when I'm learning new vocabulary which is related to something that interests me, I remember it more easily. In my case, I love food and I love cooking. I have a very broad vocabulary on food and ingredients and vegetable names and fruit names and utensils and adjectives to describe foods. So if you're really into football, learn football terms in your target language, and it will be fun for you. And when you're actually talking to a local person, to a native speaker, or you're actually in that country, you would have a much easier time in having conversations, because it is a subject of your interest, so you are automatically naturally inclined to talk about it. And when you know a bunch of vocabulary with it, it's much easier to have a whole full-blown conversation. So yeah, when I talk about food in any language, I can talk for hours and hours and hours, because I find it very fun and I just have a lot to talk about food. So yeah. Tip number 9. It might help you, it might not, it might confuse your life, but if you really want to learn the language and you want to immerse yourself completely, I suggest change your phone language to your target language and let it be like that. You already have muscle memory of what is where in your phone, and when it's in your target language, you'll learn more vocabulary because you'll be seeing those words every day. I mean, for me, I changed my phone to Korean. I learned a lot of new words like chojang hada, which is to save. So every time I'm saving a photo, it asks me chojang. So now I know what chojang means, and I never searched for it on Naver Dictionary. I just learned it through context. If you switch your phone language to your target language, you will learn a lot of new vocabulary from context. When I was in Italy, my phone was in Italian. When I was in Spain, my phone was in Spanish. When I'm in India, my phone is still on Korean, because right now I'm learning Korean. At the beginning it was difficult because I didn't know a lot of technical terms of the phone, but now I kind of got used to it. If I can do it, you can do it. Tip number 10. We finally made it. The last tip. I lied when I said the first tip was the most important one. The last one is the most important. This is something that you cannot not do. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready for the last tip? Make mistakes. That is the best way that you can learn. Don't worry about embarrassing yourself. If you don't make mistakes, or if you're afraid to do mistakes, I'm afraid to tell you, but you're not going to learn the language. But sometimes actually it works even if you make mistakes on purpose. Even if you know how to use a word correctly, sometimes I just use it in the wrong way so that someone can correct me, and it can just refresh in my memory that this is the right way and this is the wrong way. So you need to know what is wrong if you want to speak it correctly. I mean, you find new solutions only when you get a problem. And it's just not vocabulary, it's even grammar. Because sometimes some of the words and some of the grammar points, they are used in specific situations when there's a specific feeling, and they can't. Sometimes you think that you can use it in this situation, but you really can't. But you would never know if you can or cannot if you don't really use it. Sometimes when I'm talking to my friends, I would use the words that I'm not sure that it would work in that situation. I deliberately use those words so that when I send that message and the friend replies, oh, what are you trying to say? Are you trying to say this? And then I know how a native speaker would say the thing that I want to say in a more natural way. So unless I don't make a mistake, I would never know what's the right way. I think that should be your biggest takeaway from this video, because a lot of people, when they're learning a new language, they're so afraid to start speaking in that language because they think that they don't know enough grammar, they don't know enough vocabularies to just go with it. I mean, not everyone can do it, but I really recommend that you try. Just don't be afraid to make mistakes, okay? Just right from day one, start speaking things out loudly, because at the end of the day, why are you learning a language? You are learning the language because you want to communicate in that language, and unless you don't speak, how are you going to communicate? Okay, just do it, just please. That is how I have gotten where I am right now. You can also get wherever you want to be. Those were my top 10 tips that I came up. I had to think a lot about it because some things I just do subconsciously. I don't know if you'll find all of them useful, because it really depends on how a person learning style is. Everyone has their own different style, so you need to find your own way to learn new vocabularies. So that is it for today, and I hope to see you next time. And don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video if you found it useful, and do drop in the comments if you have some other tips that you might want to share with me and with the rest of the world. Yeah, I hope to see you next time, and have a great language learning. Bye.